Okay. Good evening, Ekabo, and welcome to our first Voices of IWA Live. I am your host, Iyalosa, and Voices of IWA is a podcast that is sponsored by IWA Lifestyle Corporation, and we are amplifying the voices of women all throughout the diaspora who have made a conscious effort to practice African traditions and the traditions of our ancestors. So how do we get here to this live episode, y'all? This has been crazy. We all are like a little nervous because we're on a live today. Yeah. Today has been crazy as it is already. But we are doing this live because you all asked for it. So in the beginning, you all asked for some of the feedback that we got was that people would really like to be able to connect with the EIs that we have on the podcast from time to time. And you all said you all wanted to ask questions. So we decided like, hey, let's go for it. Let's ask questions. And I know it's not Wednesday because a lot of you are like, I tune in on Wednesday and that's a whole thing. So scheduling was a thing, but we made this happen. So this is our first live episode. We will have another one in February at the end of February. And then the third live episode will actually be at our first Real Women Inspire Summit, which will be on Saturday, March 29th. But we'll get to talking a little bit more about that. In the room with me are some of the women that have been a part of the podcast so far. I have Omisaro, I have Dzifa, I have Mama Osuntinibu with us. So y'all how y'all doing today? Let's just get into it. How was your day? What was your day like? Let's get in the room. The people are coming in the room. I'm supposed to press Instagram to see who's on Instagram. Y'all, I am not technically savvy. This is not my thing. So I really appreciate, shout out to my daughter that is here and helping us navigate all this stuff. Not now. So yeah, how y'all doing today? What's going on?
Well, today is a day.
Today was a day.
I know that's everyone's answer.
Today, what did y'all do today? What was your day like today? What did you do today?
Okay, so
the day in the life of Iya.
I prayed today.
You prayed?
I ate good food. I prayed.
Yes.
I like it.
I spent my day talking some people off the ledge, some clients and things off the ledge because the president decided to stop federal funding. Yes. So nonprofits were having a hard time today. So that's why I spent my day. And Shango said not to have fear. So I was trying to be like, I don't want to give any fear to anybody and I don't want y'all to be scared either.
Right. Yes. Sure. Wow. And then yes, I'm going to continue with that. In my family line, we have 1, 2, 3 children in college. And so that was pretty much the conversation of my day as well. Talking about what's going on with the federal government. Also, I don't know, it's some depression in the air.
Yeah.
And, from time to time, we get different waves. And so in my practice, I dealt with some depression.
That's real because people are fearful and there's a lot of crazy stuff happening. And I guess I want to share that message, but I'll come back to that. Just the since today is Oshe Jakuta, right? In a piece in Shango and piece in Oya, like there was just a strong message to like leave the fear alone, right? To just not have fear. I see you over there trying to be quiet, Dzifa. You're not going to escape, not today. Oh,
paying attention. What everybody was doing with their day.
How was your day? What did you do today?
Wonderful.
What did you do? Was there any births? Did you go see a mama?
I did. I went to go see a client. I went to work, then I went to go see a client, then I ran home, grabbed some food, and came here.
Okay, I appreciate it.
Nothing major.
So, y'all, this is live, and so this is what it's going to be. So, Soraya, I can't see the Instagram comments. So I'm going to pass this to you. I can see the Facebook comments. So Abura Abuye Aboshishe Agwato, Crystal, can you pass that to Soraya and then maybe she can help us? Thank you for joining us. So y'all, again, why we're here. So one of the things that people said was that they really wanted a chance to commune with us, connect with us, right? And that the format of the podcast currently no one could ask questions, right?
Okay.
So we want to really give people an opportunity to commune with us and ask questions. So we're here. Like if you all have any questions, anything that you want to, ask, something that was on your heart, like maybe you saw one of the podcast episodes and you were like, I would have liked to ask this question, right? So feel free to, ask questions, and we are here for it all. So yeah, like y'all make some comments in the chat. Just say hi. We're here. So in the interim though, we're just gonna we'll talk a little bit about let's talk a little bit about what y'all have been up to since the last time you've been on the episode on the podcast. So Cheryl, you were on the Iyalode episode. You were on both Mother as Gold episodes, and you were on the Iyalosa episode, which actually is the highest rated episode so far. Did you know that?
Wow.
Yeah, it's the highest rated episode so far.
Okay.
Yeah.
I say shout out to Iyalosa.
Yes. Hey, Vicky Joe, it's good to see. How are you doing? Thank you for good to see you. So what you been up to? What are some of the things that you've been up to since the last time we saw you? You're right across from me, so it's easy to talk to you. So it's so simple to look at you and be like, so what's been going on?
I have been teaching and enjoying teaching and sharing and hearing the ladies share with me their experiences. I've had quite a few customers, community people, M3 ladies, come to say how helpful the conversations have been that we've had here. Showing us both the good things, right? And also the things that kind of had us like, what?
Right.
What you say now? So that's been really good though, because it's really opening up more conversation about these topics.
Yeah.
And when you're doing ritual, you don't always have time to kind of break those things down.
Yeah.
So I've had some really good conversations around all of the topics.
Okay.
Like almost every episode. All of the topics.
Word.
So it's been really good.
It warms my heart. I say this, I've been saying this like as we, on every episode, like it's every night, just about, right? I get another text message from somebody. Maybe I know them, maybe I don't. That, so it's funny how social media can connect us, right? With people who would be like, I feel like I know you, but I don't really know you, right? So you don't go to my friends list like an Instagram, it goes to like the other box and it's like such and such has a message for you. But like at least once a day, I get another message from someone that is like, thank you for doing this. This is really important. One person was like, I didn't even know I needed this. Like I thought I was good. And then I was like, wait a minute, like there are some things that, that I want to talk about. So like this has really been a special space. I appreciate it.
Right. And then another thing is that I noticed that after the interview, I had a lot of people from my egg bay come and say, like, I didn't know that.
Okay.
Like, I didn't know. Wow. Yeah, that was good. I didn't know that. I didn't know. So I was able to kind of give a historical point of view or put some
right
the conversation, and that was real good. I've had other people reach out to me and like, hey, I want to get a reading. How you doing? I saw you. So yeah, this is a good platform, a great platform.
Yeah,
especially for women. Yeah,
I think because people see us in the community, right? They know that we're, you may know that you're a priest, right? You may know certain things, but like, again, I think people feel more connected, right? We're sharing our stories. We're, opening up a little bit more about who we are. I recently had somebody call me, a young man. I decided to go to therapy. After watching the podcast, and I was like, "Whoa!" Like that was a big deal to me because one, I didn't know how many men would be watching the show, right? So I'm grateful and thankful that they've been watching also. But then when I heard that, I was like, "That's amazing!" That's really
yes,
that's beautiful.
Yeah, that was my question about are they watching? Because I hope so. they're watching.
Yeah, I was wondering too.
You
I
know,
wonder if they're looking.
Yeah.
I wonder if anybody saw it, you know.
it's important.
Yeah, and I think it's important to say too that just, like this space, there being a space for women does not negate, I did have somebody, make a comment, and they were like, I hope you're not creating a space
Male bashing.
yes, it was something to that effect, like and I was like, not at all, like, so maybe you don't watch at all, right? And that's cool, like you don't have to,
right.
But like that is not where we're going with this at all. As a matter of fact, in the next couple of episodes, so we're like we're halfway through. In the next couple of episodes, we will actually be we'll be talking about wife as a role. We'll be talking about Apwete B as a role, and the sacredness and the seriousness of those roles as well. And that should be great, interesting conversation.
I'm sure it will be. I'm sure it will be.
Did you share what you were up to?
I did not.
Okay.
We didn't forget.
She's just smiling that pretty smile.
Right.
I don't even know when was I on here? What month was it?
That might have been December. That was in December because it was before. Yeah.
What was
it? Was before
I had
I
a
went to
birthday.
St. Croix.
Yeah,
Did that.
Yes.
Yes.
What else have I done? We had our rights group had our induction.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
We had a discussion about whether it was I think it's our 10th or 11th line, but our 12th year. We've been toggling on how we count that.
Right.
But we did that, and so we've officially started our rights year. So I'm busy doing that,
Mm-hmm.
and I think that's all I've been doing.
Right.
I don't think
That's
I've
a lot.
really done anything else.
It's not small at all.
Yes,
Yeah.
that really is. And you know what? I have a real quick anecdote. I've known her for a very long time.
I think everybody has known Dzifa.
I've known her before you.
She's known me a long time.
Knee high to a duck.
Okay.
Knee high to a duck. Actually, she was coming down to the village with, was it Nana the boy? Yeah, amazing. It was amazing. And so we run around the village pretending to be there. And I know I'm going to mess this song up, but it's like, we run there. Me and all my friends like, yo, when are they coming back? Because they actually were we were the Yoruba, so okay. But they were like the coolest thing moving. And so in watching your development is amazing. It's amazing. Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah.
I love to be around you. So.
Yeah.
It makes me happy.
So while people, we don't have no questions just yet. But I want to, Sharo, you had mentioned that, you were able to have some interesting conversations with women around some of the topic areas. Like what have some of those discussions been like? I mean, I don't want nobody business, of course, but you know what I mean? Like just what are some of the things that have been insightful to people?
I think hearing more detail of everyone's stories, right?
Mm-hmm.
Of where you've been, how'd you get here, that kind of thing. And then I think that people are finding certain pieces that they were able to draw out, right?
Okay.
So like, oh yeah, that's kind of similar to my story. Like I also had this kind of introduction to African tradition, or trying to, many of us are still trying to figure out where we fit in Ifa, Orisha tradition, just like, how do we do this? And I think hearing the details, hearing that there isn't this just single acceptance of all things kind of thought process, right?
Yeah.
That, I'm not the first person to feel a little uncomfortable.
Right.
Yes.
To feel a little lost in certain ways, or and I think that especially
Iyalola,
her episode, and your story, and Iyalosa, right? Those sharing like this is years of experience
Yeah.
that we get to hear
Yeah.
and kind of like knowing, oh, okay, like every woman has to choose
Right.
something about how they engage, where they go, who they're with, how they praise, how they, all of those things. And I think those are really enlightening for us.
Yeah.
Especially for some of the new initiates.
Right.
Just being able to say, okay, so I'm not tripping.
Right.
Like I saw this, I'm not tripping, right?
Yeah, it's like validation.
Yes.
I think it's funny because in my own therapy session, I was saying, in doing this, right, I was like, this has been so validating, and there was something about it, and I was like, I don't want the validation, right? And she was like, what are you going through right now? She was like, isn't that the whole point of what you're doing? That, that the woman will be, responsive. And so it has been really validating to one, even to my own experience, right? But then to know that all of us, like a lot of women, have had these types of experiences, and then the questions, right? So there's I get text messages and DMs around people looking for spaces of worship, right? That they can feel comfortable in, and that they feel that they can learn from, and maybe have the balance of both, like, a man and a woman around, and people kind of being lost on how to find an appropriate space. Do y'all have advice about that? And hey, y'all, I don't want to ignore y'all, right? The whole point of this live is to be interactive. So hey, Olosunde Oreyeyo and Iya Yejide. How are you? Alafia ni. Yeah, thank you for being here.
I say.
Like about how to find those spaces.
Yeah, like if we had to give advice, because that is a common question,
right?
Like how do I find how do I find the Ile home? How do I find an Egbe for myself?
Right.
I think I'm thinking through what happens in my life is that I'm talking to someone. So I guess this is from the other side of it.
Right.
I'm the kind of person, I pay a lot of attention to a person. Yes, to the work that they do, but also to a person, right? So when I'm speaking to someone and maybe they're looking for assistance, they're looking for the right space, I'm listening to them, but then I'm also thinking, who's going to match you? You know what I mean?
Right.
Because I know you're adept. I know you're adept. I know you're adept. But everybody ain't for all three of y'all.
Yeah,
right.
So I say that to say, if I was to give advice to someone, I guess I would say, listen to your intuition about who you're going to ask to connect you.
Yes.
Do you know what I mean?
Yes.
Because some people might not do something like that, and they'll just say, "Oh yeah, so and so does this, so and so. Just go over there, right?
Yeah.
Come to my people,
right?
And that ain't really who you should be with.
That
so when you're looking, don't just ask everybody and tell everybody you're looking. Be intentional and selective about who you're asking for advice about who to be with.
Yeah.
Does that make sense?
It makes a lot of sense because, like a doctor. So I tell people, like, when they come to me, oh, I'm coming from so and so, and the first thing I say, okay, that's your godfather. Okay, I need to contact them. Is it okay with you if I contact them? To ask them, is it okay? But however, I don't want you to feel like you're doing anything wrong because you might not like me. Because I'm not gonna. You can't buy me, first of all. You can't buy me. You can't buy me.
I'm not for sale.
I'm not about to tell you nothing. I'm gonna take what I see. And so, but different doctors, like if you want to go to one doctor, can't stand the doctor. However, the doctor down the road might do fine. And you might feel a connection. Like I said, your Ori. You hear the horror stories. Like you have people that, oh my God, they'll come in. I paid $4,000 for a reading. I did this, and I paid $9,000. They stole all my money, and I'm like, well, baby, where was your Ori? Like, what in the world? And you don't want to blame the client all the time, or the child. You do want to put a little accountability.
But you're trying to empower them.
But you do have to empower people to understand. Look, ask questions.
That part. That part, because that's been sorry, go ahead. Because you don't talk all
Yeah,
the time.
that's
So I was
what-
like, well, as soon as you talk, I'll be like, wait, I can hold it. She was going to say something.
Gotta catch it.
I'm teasing you.
I was gonna say on the flip side of that also too, is, and I tell my birth clients the same thing.
Right.
Don't listen to everyone's story.
Right.
You know what I mean?
That's good advice.
Yeah.
Because sometimes you may make an assumption about not going to work with someone because you've heard somebody else's horror
Right.
stories, but
Right.
somebody else's horror stories came from a line of events
Yes.
that made it be that thing.
Mhm.
They're
That's
interpreting
what I mean.
it based on their own
On their
personality,
experience.
Yeah.
how
That's
things
right.
play it apart. And so that person might actually be somebody for you.
Right.
Yeah.
So it's kind of it's listening to your Ori on that
Yeah,
side too.
yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Like not listening to the other people's
Right.
stories too.
Yeah.
Right.
I'm surprised at how many people don't ask questions
That's
in
what I
this
was gonna say.
process.
I was gonna say
Yeah.
the
So,
thing
like,
for me is the voice, like bringing voice,
Yeah.
like ask, like
Right.
say something.
Yes.
yeah.
Yes.
So like in asking people, I'm like, so what's important to you in a space that you're going to be learning from? Okay, do you ask these questions?
Right.
Like, don't feel bad about interview
Right.
them too, right?
Yeah.
So we have a process where we just sit down and we talk to the person prior to them becoming a member. It's it's not anything of official, right? It's just us having a conversation so
Right.
that we can have an understanding of what your expectations are,
Right.
and you can have an understanding of what our expectations
Right,
are, so that
right.
that's not lost, right? And
Right.
if we're seeing that maybe it's possible this may not be a good fit, but
This
we know
is-
some
yeah.
amazing people, right?
That might be.
That might be a good fit. I like what you said
For
about like a
sure.
doctor, right?
Yeah,
Because
yeah, for
that
sure.
everybody
Yeah.
ain't for everybody.
Yeah, and then you also have to think about like it's the progression thing too. Because 20 years ago
Mhm.
or 30 years ago, I might have been like, "Hey, come on in, I got you.
Yeah.
I can do it."
Just to be
I can
helpful.
do it.
Yeah.
And then after 5 years, and I'm like, whoa. And then I have a degree in psychology, so I marry that with my spiritual practices. And so then you're like, hey, wait a minute. I can do this.
Yeah.
I need to do my own therapy. You're triggering me. And I'm not helpful for you.
Right.
I can help you.
Right.
It's not. But what I did want to say is that one of the things that really grabbed people from the session we did was when we talked about time. And you don't have to rush. So even when there's no race, you don't have to rush when choosing somebody. You if you were to look at my egg base, then it's totally different from now. Now the little people, the younger members have questionnaires and they have rules. And my father's elect, but I am not organized at all. But they come in, hey, questionnaires. This is if they do this, they got. I'm like, oh.
Oh, wow.
The poor babies. So it's you grow and they grow, but there's no time limit on this.
Yes.
This is a marathon. It's not a race. And everybody's into the racing.
Yes.
Yeah.
That was definitely a good part for me too, of time, because I think that is something people feel pressured about. Especially like our Western mind is like, you go to kindergarten, that's 1 year. First grade is 1 year.
Yes.
This thing of like, I should be elevating, I should be
Right.
moving along, I
I'm
should
not
be
moving
doing
quick
this,
enough.
and it's like, but all of your life is in your own timing.
Yes.
All of it. So
everything.
you may be in one place for 5 years because that's just where you need to be for 5 years.
Right.
And then you come out of that and shoot through, and
right.
Yeah. So just even like being able to relax a little bit.
Yes. That part, relax.
That part.
Like relaxing in your journey and feeling confident and comfortable with your journey and not looking at someone else's journey and trying to mimic that.
Right.
I think that's a part of what we sometimes do. Like, okay, well, she did this, that, and the third, or they did this, that, and the third, and I should be, I should be right. I'm comparing yourself when really your journey is yours completely.
I'm not learning anything. I'm like, oh, okay, well, maybe it's not your time to learn that because apparently you're not applying yourself because the classes are here. the people who
I
the
was
teacher
gonna
here,
say,
like, why are you not learning? My daughter's teaching constantly. Everybody is.
the number of
Mhm.
times that people have come into YAs and said they're not teaching me anything.
Yes,
It's
yeah.
like, I don't know if I believe you, because everybody has classes. So
Yeah,
is it because you're not getting private one-on-one,
Right.
solely you,
Yes.
the way that you like, with a book
Yeah.
type teaching?
Yeah.
Or is it, is there some resistance there into how someone is sharing information with you?
And maybe you're wanting to learn the wrong thing.
And maybe
Or
you're
that.
wanting to learn the wrong thing.
Right?
And I mean, I think we touched on this in one of those episodes, or two of them maybe, where it's like, within our tradition, the learning environment, it's very practical. Like, you show up for ritual and you learn.
Right.
We talk
And
about
you
this in
learn.
Egbe Obasala, right? Like,
Ashe.
you sit there and you learn, right? And yes, we can have classes, and there can be handouts, and and we can say the Oriki bit by bit, and you repeat, and that is feasible and possible. But a lot, I tell this all the time, like, people are like, oh, you know so much Oshun stuff. I never took an Oshun class ever.
Yeah.
No, that's not that. I know I have taken one. It was online with Ori Institute. That was like last year, I think. But the things, so the Oriki that I know, the songs that I know, the rituals that I know, all came from being present, right, at the time of whatever was happening,
And you
and
watch, and you pay attention,
and
then
being like, oh, Misha, come, come do this, come do
that's
that, you know what I mean?
Right.
Because you're present.
And interested.
And not on your
interested.
phone.
And
not on your phone.
And not on your phone.
Yeah.
Texting. Because
Or trying to
texting.
record,
Or trying to record,
video record,
or trying to write the whole
yes.
ritual down at that time.
Yes.
Baby, come on. We're doing it right now. Why you? So you can't tell me you can't learn anything. And this little guy right here knows all the prayers, all the songs, the entire ritual. He's 7. Come on. But you're jealous of him because he knows all the rituals. He knows that, and you think I'm showing him favoritism. I'm really not. Of course, he's younger, so he can learn quicker. However, I'm not. He's not on his iPad. He's not texting. I know you have to go to work, but if you don't have the time, don't come. Don't come. No,
it's facts, right? No, I get you.
Because you're taking space up. And then the other priest are getting mad at me. My sister's mad at me. Toliwa, ooh. Y'all know Toliwa. Toliwa is in my ear, like, why are they here? And I need her. So
that's part of it too. The how to be part of a community,
right?
And if you didn't grow up in church or some type of house or some kind of temple, something, some people really don't know how to do that. And they don't know that there is a give and take, and we're not always asking for money to get something, right? Most times we prefer your presence.
We do.
The money is like the final, like, appeasement. Like, well, okay, fine. Pay me this, and then I'll give you this. So
pay me.
Yeah. But really, we want your presence. We want you to come and do, and contribute. And, and so that is also a thing too, for them being able to navigate that. Because even when people are asking, how do I find a godparent? I'm always like, what are you looking to bring? What are you looking to come here and offer? And it's easy to say I need some things. Well, duh, right? But like, what are you also gonna like then share with us?
I don't even know that we approach relationships altogether like that, right? I mean, there's the you see all of the like, what do you bring to the table? What do you bring to the table? Between men and women that can go on, right? But it's in any relationship, right? If I have sisterships, I have sisterhoods, right?
Yeah.
And they are. I'm finally grateful, right? That I feel like I'm in a spirit of reciprocity in these relationships, right? Where I'm clear, like, I am welcome in all. I can show up as fully Omishegun. I don't have to like shrink myself or feel like, or anything. And I don't think that any of the women around me are doing that either, right? Like there's a true celebration there. But that's because we're all able to show up fully, right? As ourselves. And I don't know that, I think when we come to relationships, like you're saying, like, we're kind of like, okay, what can What can you provide?
yeah.
What can you
What
provide for
what
me?
can you-
But we're not necessarily always thinking about what we can provide to the
Right,
space as
right.
well. Like, that's really good.
Yeah, that makes a lot of sense. And then you think about the new thing where I can be friends with women.
Oh my
I
goodness
can be
gracious.
friends. And so that makes me real suspicious. I'm like, so you can't be friends with women, but you're a woman. So
You
who
hate
can you be
yourself.
friends with? Because
It's rough. You got to say it.
Yeah.
You're not friends with yourself. You don't like yourself
Yes,
right now,
exactly.
and
And you
and
need
that's
some
hard
therapy.
to hear, but it's true. You
Yeah.
know, that's true.
Yes.
We have a question.
Yes. And
Okay,
it is a wild one.
So Olasunde asks, what is the proper procedure as a woman if you decide that Ifa Orisha is not for you and you no longer want your shrines? Ooh, that's a good one. I got stories.
It's a wild one.
Who wants to take it? I can just tell you what happened to me, and then maybe we could all share. I'm sure we all have stories.
Okay.
Here's the beauty of the stories. So I've had people give their shrines back, right? Or I've had people birth shrines and never come back for them. That's also happened, right?
Yes.
And so what ends up happening to the shrine is if you come to our house, there's a nice space of shrines that we keep, right? We keep for other people. It's facts, because for whatever reason, people have decided, like you said, they have decided this is not for them. I do know people that have thrown their shrines in the river. I don't, I always feel like, especially with these were our shrines that we've birthed in some kind of way, then I had gotten some advice actually from another chief that was like, no, you have them bring the shrine back to you, and now it's your responsibility because you have birthed it, and you keep it, and now, like, really that person, like, you may be saving that person's life, you know what I mean? You don't know. You don't know, but yes, there is a corner of Ifa shrine. There's a corner of Egungun shrine. I think those are the only ones that have been, left and no longer are looked after. So they're looked after by us.
Oh,
Yes. Okay. I'll go next.
Yes.
My entire garage
is
is full.
my
entire garage is full of Shango, Obatala, Elegba, Ogun, Oshoti, and on and on and on and on.
Oh,
And my heart, I just, like, I've asked my elders, which I am a big fan of going to the elders.
Yeah.
I go to the elders. When I do not know, I go to them. I'm sure in different lineages and different egg bags, there are, protocol. There are different protocols to this. It has been, from my limited understanding, it has been my experience that I become the caretaker.
Yeah.
To all of the shrines that all these people didn't want. And so then God's son so-and-so gets out of jail. I want my shrines. Go get them. I've had somebody get hit by a car and had to go to their shrine and kind of pray them up. Wow. Then they came back and got it. I've held one guy's child's shrine for, had to be about maybe 5 years. She came and got it. I was like, oh. But this is a big thing.
Yeah, it's a big deal.
And because you think about, that's your energy. So I'm thinking about the person. I don't really want to hurt them. And however, my new question now, before I do anything, do you have anywhere to put it? Let's talk. We're going to have a long conversation to make sure that you're mentally ready. Because you might not be ready,
Yeah.
And depending on who you get the shrine from, a lot of people, get shrines from people they break up with or they don't want to be in a relationship.
Okay.
Then, but that's my take.
Yes.
There's more. Yeah, there's more questions.
Okay.
Facebook was first.
Okay. So y'all see, we're this is exciting. Yay to the questions. Thank you. So we have a question on Facebook and Instagram. We're going to take the Facebook question first. I'm interested to know, Efumiwa. I'm interested to know. Yes. I'm interested to know how you deal with people who come already knowing everything. I've done readings for people who think they know better than the Orisha. actually saying, well, that's not what my spirit says.
I like to take
And we
this.
both looking at you. Everybody looked at you. That sounds like your question.
I like to take
You got
this
it.
one.
Yeah, go right ahead.
I don't. But also, I complete whatever reading or whatever it is that's being done, and close out the exchange and let them go on their way, because they have to want the information.
Mm-hmm.
Right? I had someone, I was doing their reading, and the whole time they were like, that doesn't resonate with me. And I was like, okay. I said, okay, well, the price is the price, and thank you.
Mm-hmm.
and just, depart, because what's the other alternative? To try to convince them? That's not my job.
No.
They asked for my service, and so I provide the service. The answers are the answers. Also, if on the front end, we try to be very good about making sure people understand, like, okay, the reading is this, but if you get a reading like this, there's some things that you're going to be required to do later, and there are consequences if this doesn't get finished out. So if someone comes and then they say, oh, like they already know, or they can't listen or whatever, they're already in a bad place. There's nothing else for you to do. Yeah. I try not to let those people take up any more of my time and space.
Yeah.
That's what I was going to say. I think you can't be responsible for how they receive the thing.
Right.
I think as a person opening up your energy to do the work, you just need to make sure that your space and whatever thing that you've opened that needs to be closed,
that part
to it, needs to happen.
Because
outside of that, that's on them.
Because I actually feel like there are people that come and get a reading and then don't do the eyeball.
There are a lot of people.
Don't. This is my 10 take my 2 carries and do what you want with it. But I have as a priest, right? If I consult Oshun, I open up the oracle. You're here and you don't come back and do the work. I give Oshun what she asked for. Not. Yes, your energy was there, but so is mine, right? And I feel like as a custodian of the shrine, I don't want no problems, right? And this was required, right? And then I also be thinking, like, some people really don't get it, right? You really don't get that, and that hasn't happened a lot. So I don't want y'all probably thinking this girl over here doing everybody's about. No, that doesn't happen a lot, but it has happened before. Right. And my thought process sometimes is like, okay, yes, it was a goat. You worrying about this $250 or whatever for this goat or whatever. You saying you don't have it. You never came back to get the ebal, but then maybe like who knows what's going to happen to your life. And I don't need that on me. You know what I mean? Like, or at the shrine. So like when I'm doing work, and like I'm just like, let's get the ebal done for this person. Like sometimes people will call back like, I'm ready to do my ebal. Now it's be 6 months. And I'd be like, dear, your ebal is finished. Right? You know what I mean? You can come back and still do your work, but I'm not holding that energy of that Odu is open. You know what I mean? And the work is I feel also responsible for the work. And like that, which is one of the reasons why I was like, I don't want to do readings for everybody. You know, it's not something that I really want to do.
Well, yeah, I was gonna say, because that doesn't sound like what she's saying.
I get that too. I get that. She's like, these are people that are just arrogant. That's just an arrogance.
Yeah, that's not. And also what you want to tell them, Ifa is today, tomorrow, yesterday. So you don't know when it's going to happen.
Right.
Yes.
Ashe.
You don't know when.
Ashe.
You don't know when. So I tell people like, okay, if it's not happening now, that does not mean it's not going to happen in 2 weeks. And 9 times out of 10, they'll call me and say, oh my God, you would not believe this. You told me don't drive fast.
I believe it.
I got it.
I absolutely believe it.
I'm not offering you supposed to bring,
I think one more thing that's important, though, to her question, and hey, Inger, I owe you a phone call. But I think it's also important to your own sense of what's the word I wanted? Your confidence.
Yes.
Right in yourself. Right? That your ear is your ear.
Yes.
Yeah. So while they come knowing everything,
Yeah.
That's on them still. So it's also it's the you making sure that your stuff is closed, but it's also too, don't let them be in your ear. You know what I mean?
Yes.
Like, whatever they happen to know, whatever they tell you, that's not their relationship. That's fine. But at this moment in time, like you said, you came to me. This is the money. Okay.
Yeah.
Right. But also I think it's important to say, don't let it, you know, affect your sense of what you know.
Right.
And
For
what you
sure.
hear.
And I say kudos to this guy, because I'm not doing no help for nobody. I know what I will do is I will work with you. And you know, if you don't have all the money, we can work something out. And we look, I need some dishes washed. The shop needs
There's
to
things
be
that can be
clean.
done for sure.
We can do an exchange, but I'm just like, I don't know. I'm reading all day long. If I do all these people, but I'm already taking care of
I don't like I said, I don't take a lot of, I don't do a lot of,
but that's
people's readings. And the people that end up coming to me, like if you got to my mat, like Dzifa has recommended people, you know, it's because people are like, you need to see this person. And again, that hasn't happened a lot, but I just don't like the thought of Oshun asking for something and then just not getting what she gets. Like I don't practice that.
There's
an Instagram and then okay, so okay, you know how they came. I'm gonna let you do your job.
Okay, the first question is, what if you as the priestess does not want to take over that responsibility of taking care of something? They decide that practice is not.
Yeah, so I can tell you what, because I got advice on this because there was a part of me at one point when this happened, I was angry because I was like, you know, you did all of this and then, you know, and then now it's here, like, you know, and the Babalawo really did help me see again that this is why when we take on godchildren or, you know, it's a responsibility. When you birth shrines, it's a responsibility. So what I really do say to that is like, if you're not ready for that responsibility, then don't do it yet. Right. Because you are responsible. And so that was the advice that was given to me. And something else that happened, like I actually saw where that actually saved someone's life.
Right.
Where it saved their life. Right. They were told that they needed to get their hand of Ifa.
Right.
Oh, they didn't hear the question.
Oh, I'm sorry. It's a lot. We needed a mic for the person in the back. So sorry. The question, I should repeat the question. So the question was, what do you do if you were not really feeling taking care of somebody's pot, you know, or somebody's vessel when they don't want it anymore? So that's what I was answering, was the fact that, you know, the advice that was given to me was that no, you made the vessel. The vessel came from you. Your energy is a part of that vessel. And so it is your responsibility to take care of it. If you created it and you birthed it, you helped bring it, then they should bring it back to you, and then you take care of it.
And to be quite honest, even if it's not in your house, it's still a part of you.
Good point.
So at the point that you're deciding to create it, even in the creating of it, it's still the same. You still need to go through the same check process. Like, this is what I want to be connected to.
Yeah, it's a responsibility. Things are happening, so we can't see.
Yeah, the Facebook.
I can't see the other Facebook.
There's another
there you go.
question.
She got it.
Okay.
You said there were 2 Instagram questions?
Okay, so the second one is, repeat it all. The second one is, at what point in practice did things shift from just pots to this is?
So the question is, at what point did things shift from this is pots to this is real? Anybody want to take that? I think I understand the question.
Okay, I was 12. So, hey, you know, where I grew up in the Yoruba village, so it was always real. It was like everybody I knew is what we did. We had a bimba every day. It was like, so it was just
that was gonna be my question. I mean, my answer.
Yeah, we gotta, you know.
Yeah.
Like I said, I knew her.
I don't know another.
So I don't know anything else.
Yeah, and I don't know that it was ever just pots for me.
I was gonna say I never was in a place where it was just pots.
Yeah. I think I got to this tradition And I do remember the first time, the first time I got a reading, when I came to a reading, I won't give the whole story, but it was clear to me. Shola did my first reading, and there's a whole story about all the things that were happening at that time. And the fact when I got to the door, he saw this ring and was like, I made that. And I was like, oh shit. Like, I was like, what just happened? Right? So there's a whole story about how I really feel like the Orisha led me to this. So for me, from the beginning, it was like, this is real. And that kept getting repeated over and over daily. It's like, oh, this is real.
So for someone who didn't have that approach, that introduction, I guess, I think what I would say is at the point that you have received a pot,
right,
and it's currently just a pot, it's your consistency. You're dating somebody.
Yeah,
that's good.
Yeah, and you that's right. That's right.
You know, and as simple as that.
It is.
It'll become more than just a pot.
Right.
The more your relationship grows,
you're
it's a relationship. Your ear gets strengthened to that language. Your dreams get strengthened to that language. Your vision gets strengthened to that language. But only if it's consistent.
Yeah.
That's
you're courting
good. That is good. I like that.
It's like you're courting the Orisha. When you first get the Orisha, first get a leg,
that energy.
Tell the children, okay, or the godchildren, spiritual students, look, when you first receive your elegba you change the water. Change the water, and just kind of feel that energy. And they'll come back and y'all might like be like this. How do you know? Because when I gave him this, this is what happened. It's like, really not like apples. I'm like, okay.
Yeah. I love that piece around the relationship. The way we approach the Orisha can be very transactional a lot of times, and just like any relationship, right, you have to spend time with that energy, and then like you said, you become attuned to it, right, and you get to know that language. You know who's speaking to you. Like, people are always like, how do you know which Orisha is around you at this time? I was like, because I know what they feel like for me. I know what Egbe feels like for me. I know what Oshun feels like for me. I know what the Obatala energy feels like for me, and so that relationship piece is huge. All right, we have another question that I think is a good one. All these questions are great, so thank you all for your questions. What advice do you ladies have for young priests coming behind you in regards to keeping the community together and tight? Crickets. Right.
I love crickets.
I was conceding to those who are older than me.
Well,
as one of the younger priests coming behind.
Yes.
Whatever. Well, I hear you.
Okay, so I'll speak briefly. In our egg bag, we are more, and so I approach the tradition a little bit different because I came in this with the Pan-African movement. My godfather was definitely a Pan-African, and I met like Mama KK, none of this like Pan-Africans. So we use the spiritual tradition of our Orisha, I guess, as a spiritual warfare. To deal with white supremacy.
Yeah.
Okay. And so when I'm dealing with my younger community, there, I tap into where you want to be. What does this look like for you? Why are you interested? Which, like I said, years ago, I wasn't doing that. But now I want to know, why are you interested? And what I noticed is that a lot of younger people, because, when they brought us over here through that transatlantic slave law, I don't like slave. I like the captured people, captured people. Yeah. And so they took the warriors. So why wouldn't we expect these people to be wanting to do gangs? Why wouldn't we expect that? Because they took the warriors. So these are the warriors' children and the priests' children. And so that's why we have so many priests here too. Because they're the healers. They had to get rid of everybody that could help. And so here we go. And so when I want to redirect this warrior energy you have,
Right.
And that's what, as far as the younger people, okay, how are we going to do it? First of all, a lot of us, like we're starting a GE program. A lot of us just need basic stuff.
Yeah.
Different ways you can make money.
Mm-hmm.
You know, because when we're dealing with the reality of the streets of Atlanta or the reality of the youth today, you got to look at where they're at. You got to kind of meet them where they're at to bring them to where they need to be.
Yes.
So you said something that, because the question, I was trying to figure out where I wanted to go with the question, right? I think that the first thing is if you are a person, an individual who is moved to keep the community together and tight,
right?
That's who you are, regardless of if you got a pot or not.
That's right.
Right. So now that you have a pot does not make you now that's not your new role in life.
That's right. That's right. I get it.
And I also think that we sometimes put too much magic on it in the wrong way.
Right.
What it does is it helps you to be able to provide things for the community, right? And move in a way, because now when you go home, you can add a little extra to your prayer for what I want to do today, right? Okay, we're going to do the rights. Let me go and make sure that we are all guided in the right way for rights to work, right? But I have a friend, and she's close homegirl. She's married to a Ghanaian, and he's always trying to figure out, all y'all over here, priests, nobody have nothing. Excuse my English, but that's basically what he's saying, right?
Yeah.
With all that we have and all of the ways in which the magic actually really works.
Right.
Why?
We don't.
Right.
Come.
So for me, that translates into we should be able to organize lots of big time things. You see what I'm saying? Like when you talk about keeping the community tight and strong, that's the way I think your ability to be to have a conversation with Oshun a certain way, have a conversation with Nana Suo a certain way. Sorry, I went to both.
Absolutely.
Right. But to be able to do that, that's where the whole concept of you being a priest comes into play.
Yes.
But I think also too, I would say, take your time. Like the question, as a young priest, how do I now do this?
Right.
I think you should take your time.
Yes.
Absolutely.
You know what I mean? Like that's
take your time to
take your time.
Observe and learn and master some things and get through some of the gunk that is 20 to 40.
Because it's going to take you a long time to figure out yourself as a priest first anyway. Before you can connect and bond and tighten up the community.
Before you can go
take the first 20.
Or you'll burn out.
No,
or you'll burn out. No, I've met people
still figuring out me. I'm sorry.
They real hard. They come. They work a lot. They do a bunch, and now they're on Facebook doing a review. I'm like, oh Lord, and you burn out.
Yeah,
you burn out.
So that's where my focus. I zoomed in on the keep the community
right,
and I'm not sure that we're kept. I'm not sure that's what's happened. I think that some of us are able to come together in peaceful ways, but as far as like, is the community tight? I don't know about that. And so what I think of is somewhat of what you said, Dzifa, about you are who you are, priest or not, right? So some of us have better reconciliation skills. Some of us are, skilled in certain areas that the community needs. And I think that we need to get that together. Like we're missing the healing pieces, the mediation, the reconciliation, the things that will allow us to then own something, build something that's long-standing. Because we all have trust issues, and then things happen in the community that deteriorate that even more. And so that's kind of what I see. Like if I'm thinking about young priests coming after me, it's like, think long-term. Don't think just about today. Right? Add in, like, what skills do you need for what we have going on? You guys know more than we do what the young people are faced with, from their lived experiences, right? So, like, what kind of skills do you all need? What do you need to know? And don't discount the elders that just because they may not know it the way you know it doesn't
Right.
mean they didn't experience it.
Right.
Because Dzifa
That's
already
right.
shows us we just experience the same human
That's
things
right.
over and over again, right?
That's right.
So don't discount their advice either, right? And so that's what I would say.
Yeah.
I appreciate y'all. I always feel like this hour goes by way too fast. I think we didn't start getting questions until like 30 minutes in, which is cool. But this was actually awesome. We really appreciate you all. Thank you all for coming back a second time. Dzifa's like, I don't know how you roped me into this twice, but you love me and I appreciate you and thank you. I just want to say that the thing that you touched on in the end about us not having nothing, right? That is actually, I go to sleep with that in my heart sometimes, right? Like when I see the condition of our communities, when I see some of the things that are happening, and I think of the power of the Orisha, I think to myself, like, I just don't understand, right? Like, what are we doing? And so if you have not, this Real Women Inspire Summit that is happening on March 29th is an opportunity for us to come together as women. Convenings are important, right? Spaces where we can come together as women and celebrate each other and talk to one another face to face and connect to one another. One of the very important parts of the program is called World Cafe. And in World Cafe, one of the things that we are going to be doing is exploring what we feel like we need to do as women in the tradition, right? And where do we feel like we want to be in the next 5 to 10 years? And like literally, what are the steps, right? What are the steps? Who are the people? Who are the institutions that will help to bring us to that point? What are the rituals, right? So these are the conversations that we can have in a closed convening where it's us. And so it's a facilitated conversation. I'm excited about the summit because it's a stem from this place, right? From this podcast, all the things that we've been talking about, and an opportunity for us to all be in the same room, coming from different parts of from the Caribbean. There's some people I know that are coming from the Caribbean. There's some people that are coming from different parts of the states, right? So it's not just an Atlanta specific event, but it's an event, it's an opportunity for us to really connect with one another. So the site is live now. You can get tickets. We are going to be celebrating some women that are already doing amazing work throughout the diaspora. So check the website. I think it's IWA Real Women's Summit. Or you can go on www.iwalifestyle.com and you can get to it from there. And again, like, thank you all for your energy. Thank you all for being here. Orisha Bukola, thank you for being here. We really appreciate it. There's so much opportunity. Like the potential, right? I was reading something. It said the potential is the difference between where you are and where you're going to be, right? And that's the difference, right? And what we want to ignite, that potential and stop just living in that space of what if. And actually put some wheels and some movement, and really gain movement on the things that are already happening, because there's already a lot of really amazing things that are happening, right? But there's an opportunity for us to convene together and organize, right, to what's next. So I'm not going to put anybody on the spot. I'm going to pray us out. Right, we don't have to. I don't have to sit here. We don't have to sit here in silence because we only got 2 minutes left. Gracious Creator, Olodumare, we give you thanks. We give thanks to all the Orisha. We give thanks to all of our teachers, those whose shoulders upon which we stand. We give thanks to our ancestors, those who have strengthened us and helped to propel us forward. We give thanks for every woman at this table. We give thanks for every woman who has watched this episode or watched the podcast. We give thanks for her family. We give thanks for her children. We give thanks for the community that surrounds her. I pray that she is strengthened from the inside out. I pray that she feels supported, she feels loved, she feels nurtured. I pray that she knows that she is never alone and that she always walks with a spirit of those who came before her, that came before her, that came before her, that came before her. I pray that our energy, our collective energy, is felt throughout the world, and that we are able to walk the destiny that we truly chose for ourselves in heaven.
That's right.
We chose a destiny of royalty. We chose a destiny of light. We chose a destiny of organization. We are the people who will bring the voices of our ancestors to full fruition. We will manifest their prayers. Ashe. Thank you all for being here. We are going to do these lives once a month. And next week we're in for a special treat. I won't tell you who's going to be here, but you definitely want to tune in next week. Have a great evening, and Odabo.
Odaro.